Welcome to this immersive exploration of the Book of Ruth, a narrative that transcends time to reveal the profound depths of human loyalty and divine providence. As we step into the ancient world of Moab and Bethlehem, we witness a story that begins in tragedy but culminates in the most unexpected restoration. Prepare yourself to witness the unfolding of a legacy that shaped history through the quiet strength of a woman who refused to let go of hope. Let us begin our journey through the fields of Bethlehem, where every grain of barley tells a story of faith and unyielding devotion. Our exploration today will uncover the hidden gems of this masterpiece of biblical literature. Our story commences in the days when the judges ruled, a period marked by both spiritual struggle and physical hardship across the land of Israel. A severe famine descended upon Bethlehem, once known as the House of Bread, forcing families to seek sustenance in foreign territories beyond the Jordan. Elimelech, a man of standing, led his wife Naomi and their two sons toward the distant green plateaus of Moab. The journey was fraught with uncertainty, yet the necessity of survival drove them across the rugged terrain toward a future that remained shrouded in mystery. They left behind their ancestral heritage, unaware that the land they sought for refuge would soon become a place of deep sorrow. Every step taken away from their homeland echoed with the weight of tradition and the silent prayer for an eventual return. The golden fields they once knew had turned to dust, reflecting the internal struggle of a people searching for divine guidance. This migration was a desperate attempt to preserve a family name that seemed destined for extinction in the barren wastes. Every moment in this wilderness was a test of their endurance and faith. Every moment in this wilderness was a test of their endurance and faith. Life in Moab initially offered the stability they craved, but the shadow of mortality soon fell upon the family in a series of devastating events. Elimelech passed away, leaving Naomi to navigate a foreign culture with only her two sons by her side in a strange environment. The sons married local women, Orpah and Ruth, establishing new bonds that seemed to promise a continuation of their family line despite their exile. However, tragedy struck again as both sons died, leaving three widows to face the harsh realities of ancient life without protection. Naomi found herself bereft of her husband and both children, a stranger in a land that had become a cemetery for her beloved ones. The silence in their home grew heavy with the absence of laughter and the presence of memories that offered more pain than comfort. In this darkness, news arrived that the Lord had visited his people in Bethlehem by providing them with an abundance of bread once more. This spark of hope ignited a resolve in Naomi to return to the place of her youth, seeking a final sanctuary among her kin. Her heart yearned for the familiar landscapes and the spiritual connection of her homeland. Naomi resolved to return to her homeland, urging her daughters-in-law to remain in Moab where they might find security and new husbands. Orpah eventually kissed Naomi goodbye and returned to her people, but Ruth made a choice that would echo throughout the corridors of eternity. With a heart filled with resolute devotion, Ruth uttered words that remain among the most beautiful expressions of loyalty ever recorded. She declared that where Naomi went, she would go, and where Naomi stayed, she would stay, making Naomi's people her own people. Her commitment was not merely to a person, but to a new faith and a new identity that rejected the familiar for the sake of love. This pivotal moment transformed a simple journey into a pilgrimage of faith as the two women began their long walk back toward Bethlehem. Their arrival stirred the entire town as people marveled at the transformation of the woman they once knew as the vibrant and blessed Naomi. The bond between these two women became a beacon of light in a world often shadowed by individual interest and seasonal friendship. They walked with a purpose that defied the circumstances of their humble return. As the barley harvest began, Ruth sought permission to glean in the fields, a provision made for the poor and the stranger in Israelite law. By what seemed like mere chance, she found herself in the portion of the field belonging to Boaz, a wealthy relative of Elimelech. Boaz noticed the industrious foreign woman and inquired about her identity, learning of her extraordinary kindness toward his relative Naomi during her trials. Moved by her character, he ordered his young men to leave extra grain for her and ensured her safety within the boundaries of his estate. Ruth's hard work from morning until evening did not go unnoticed, as she gathered an abundance of food to sustain both herself and Naomi. The kindness of Boaz acted as a healing balm to their spirits, signaling that the providence of God was working behind the scenes. In the midst of the harvest, a new chapter of hope was being written in the very soil of their ancestral inheritance. Every handful of grain gathered was a testament to her perseverance and the quiet dignity she maintained despite her status as an outsider. Her presence in the field brought a sense of grace to the hard labor of the season. Following Naomi's wise counsel, Ruth approached Boaz at the threshing floor under the cover of night to request his protection as a kinsman redeemer. This courageous act was not one of desperation, but a formal appeal to the social and spiritual obligations of their shared heritage. Boaz accepted the challenge with honor, praising Ruth for her virtuous character, which was well known throughout the gates of the entire city. He promised to settle the matter of redemption legally, ensuring that the inheritance of Elimelech would remain within the family line as intended. The tension of the night gave way to the clarity of the morning sun as Boaz went to the city gate to finalize the agreement. Through legal proceedings and public witness, he officially took Ruth as his wife, restoring the name and the future of the family. The community gathered to bless the union, recognizing the hand of the Almighty in bringing together two souls of such high integrity. This encounter under the stars marked the beginning of a restoration that would extend far beyond their personal lives. The silent night bore witness to a commitment that would change the course of history forever. The silent night bore witness to a commitment that would change the course of history forever. Boaz took his place at the city gate, the center of legal and social life in ancient Bethlehem, to address the closer relative of Elimelech. In a scene of formal gravity, he presented the opportunity to redeem the land and the name of the deceased, knowing the weight of the responsibility involved. When the other relative declined, Boaz stepped forward as the redeemer, calling upon the elders and the people as witnesses to his solemn oath. The exchange of the sandal finalized the purchase, securing the future of Naomi and Ruth within the covenant community of Israel. This public declaration of commitment was met with prayers of blessing from the townspeople, who saw in this union a sign of God's enduring favor. The legal precision of the moment mirrored the spiritual truth that redemption requires both a willing heart and a righteous action. With the matter settled, the path was cleared for a new family to flourish in the heart of Bethlehem, bringing restoration to a line that had once faced total extinction. The joy of the community reflected the deep satisfaction of seeing justice and mercy walk hand in hand. Every witness at the gate understood the profound significance of this righteous act of restoration. Every witness at the gate understood the profound significance of this righteous act of restoration. The story reaches its beautiful conclusion with the birth of a son named Obed, who brought joy back to Naomi's once emptied heart and life. This child was more than just a consolation. He was a vital link in a chain that would lead to the greatest figures in history. Obed became the father of Jesse, who was the father of King David, placing a Moabite woman in the direct lineage of Israel's kings. Even more significantly, this line would eventually lead to the birth of Jesus Christ, demonstrating that God's grace knows no national boundaries. The book of Ruth teaches us that our choices, motivated by love and faith, can have an impact that stretches far beyond our own lifetimes. It reminds us that even in our darkest moments, there is a master weaver crafting a tapestry of beauty from the threads of our trials. The story of Ruth is our story whenever we choose loyalty over convenience and faith over the fear of the unknown future. We find that redemption is not just a concept, but a living reality that transforms our bitterness into a profound and lasting sweetness. This legacy of grace continues to resonate throughout history, offering hope to all who seek a new beginning. The birth of Obed was a signal that the winter of their souls had finally given way to an eternal spring. The birth of Obed was a signal that the winter of their souls had finally given way to an eternal spring. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most poignant narratives in human history. May the story of Ruth inspire you to walk with courage and remain steadfast in your commitments, knowing that no act of kindness is ever truly lost. As we close this chapter, remember that your own story is still being written, and every step of faith contributes to a much larger legacy. Farewell for now, and may you find the strength to be a source of light and redemption in your own world every single day. The power of this narrative lies in its simplicity and the universal truth of unconditional love. Goodbye for today, and may your path be blessed with the same providence that guided Ruth to her home in Bethlehem. We hope this exploration has enriched your understanding of this timeless tale of faith and devotion. Farewell, until we meet again. Thank you.